Try white churches.
Uh-huh.
Try white churches. Go try the white experience. And I know that it's easy for us to congregate where with people who look like us, but just try it. Make friends, make an effort. Not everybody is bad. Once you pass that trust level, once you pass that trust level, I've had very fantastic white friends who, who will give me a kidney. Which you have seen somebody else do, but you were the one reported because you didn't report it in the first place. So by you not understanding the culture, you end up in issues. So this happens. I've just given you one example of just general society of meeting people, and also in a society of in the workplace. But it's those type of social interactions that we need to learn. We need to learn. To say we need to learn. And also for me, for me, I always tell people that name calling is the biggest form of racism, which I ignore. It doesn't bother me. I can be called monkey today. I can be called black. I am black. It's amazing me how people would use the word black to hurt me. How is that possible? Or, I can even be called the N-word. I don't use the N-word because I don't call people any slave names. You can use all those things. Those things, the reason why that person is using them is because he's looking at you and finding something he feels is something that makes you vulnerable, and he's grabbing on that. If you are fat, it would be a fat. If you're a woman, it would be something very feminine he would pick. So he's picking the biggest thing. But for me, I'm not vulnerable as a Black person. I find, so it doesn't bother me. The biggest forms of clashes happen for me when institutions have racist aims and objectives. And even if you're dealing with them, just that there are organizations which because nobody has fought through the rules, means that Black people get a harder time to get forward in them. So those are the biggest things which cause me problems more than anything. But yeah, so that's what I would say about that. Let me not talk too much.
About where the BMA or we understand what we need, or if we know what we need. Yeah, you've talked quite a lot about that. But again, when it comes to like getting the best jobs, opening up businesses, access to finances and all that. So I just don't understand how much we know about that, because you find when it comes to poverty or in work poverty, you're working but you're still poor, you find it is BMI. Yes, some people are born here, just like, yourself and many others, but you find that situation doesn't really change. So I'm like, are we really integrated? Do we really understand? Do we even know?
So I want to talk a little bit about, again, stratifying us. A few days ago, I'll send you this report. It's a shame I didn't dig it up before today. I always look at this report and it just blows my mind. Now, one of the biggest problems I had is one day I was walking down the streets and this white person walks up, and this happens a lot if you are like me, walks up to me and says, I don't want you to think anything about it, but, I need to buy drugs. So he's come up to me, walked up to me on the street he's picked me because I'm the Black person, and he's asking me, where can he find the drugs? And that really bothered me to say, look, and I remember I was sitting down a few years ago, about 8 years ago, with this guy who was telling me, what if you're driving a BMW and the police stop you, won't they treat you like a drug dealer? And I asked him this question. I said, look, why do you feel that Black people are drug dealers? I'm like, yeah. I said, okay, I've got one question for you. You work in this job, you work with a lot of Black people. Have you ever met any of them dealing drugs? Any of them? It's like, no. Do you think any of them would do drugs? No. So your learned experience is not even based on the exposure you have had with Black people. So you have actually never met a Black drug dealer, but all of a sudden you feel that Black people are drug dealers. So I'm going, don't worry, it's the perception is extremely important when it comes to what people think about you is very, very, very important when it comes to you being at the forefront of this conversation we're having right now. And so to bring it back to where, let me not lose, because I was about to go on a tangent, let me stop it there and say, so we have had this issue where they treat Black people as what? But one thing so I went to look at the statistics to say, do we really use drugs? Because how come, so I said, what can I, so I checked and I found that Black Africans, I mean, our white friends are 4 times more likely to use Class A drugs than we are. 4 times more likely to use Class A drugs than we are. You know, that just let that ring in you. In fact, I think it was less than 1% of actually Black Africans. The percentage goes a little bit higher, not so much higher when it comes to our Caribbean brothers and sisters. However, this is where the shocking statistic is. However, mixed race people are more likely to use Class A drugs than even the white community. Now, that's very, very important for many things because you keep on adding mixed race people into the statistics of the Black people. It makes it look as if we are drug dealers and all that. But no, once you take them out and look at them and ask yourself, no, just like you have put, why is it that even Black Africans are able to succeed more than British people who were born here? You see, so there has been a breakdown in society. Something has happened. You know, something has happened that you can have a person coming off a lorry from Nigeria and his kids will outperform a person who is 3 or 4 generations born in the UK. That's a big, scary thought, isn't it? So it lets you know that there's something which has happened in and because not grouping us appropriately, we are not able to give the type of help to our friends who have been here longer and have come from a society which was more aggressive than what we found when we came. So I think that's one thing. So that's one thing I'd want to say about that. Now, to come back to the question you asked about, you talked about what's the problem? One of the things you know, why is it Black people are not starting business?
Do we understand what we need? Or
Yes, you're right. There is no place where we can go where people can talk about from a Black perspective, you know, the learned experience which will help another Black person move forward. That place doesn't exist. I haven't come across that. Place. There is no place where you can, for example, someone walked up to me and we got to speaking of mortgages, you know, and I asked this person, so what is your, and this have happened twice, you know, to me. As a friend, so we start speaking about mortgages and I asked him, so what is your credit score? He had never heard of a credit score. Didn't know what it was. And I'm thinking, well, that's the first thing you need to know is what your credit score is if you're going to think of getting a house. I spoke to another
Yeah.
person and I told them, look, you need to get one of these Experian accounts and do this and track A, B, C, D. And he was like, no, 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 but I've been told if I do this, my credit rating will go down. I'm like, no,
Right.
you are actually registering with the credit referencing agents. You're not doing a credit search on your account. You're just looking to see what they would tell you, and you're paying for a service for a few months so you can figure out what you can do in terms of credit. So that's one problem. You know, there's just
Right.
the lack of information. People, a good number of BMEs don't know these things. I mean, they get into a council house and they're happy with a council house. A mortgage is something else. And another
Yeah,
problem I
getting into
find
mortgage.
is there's a lot of misinformation which goes around. And one of the things which goes around in this community is don't worry, get a loan, don't pay it back. They won't arrest you. You can just declare bankruptcy and they'll write off your loan. And you're not asking yourself that by doing that, you are excluding yourself to access more funds. You see, so there's a lot, so you're dealing with, when I'm dealing with these conversations with people, I find that by the time they come to me, they have made so many bad financial situations so that I even have a friend who's even in a fantastic job. And because of the bad decisions he made a few years ago, he's struggling. I haven't come, you know, there is no intervention which comes and teaches people just basic, this is how things work in the UK. This is how the UK financial system works. You understand? Right. And I find the reason why is even among the British, the working class British, this doesn't exist. If you go deep into these council estates, it doesn't exist. Nobody's telling them how to make the right decisions anyway. So why would it start with us? You know, nobody's telling them how to make the right decisions anyway. Nobody's getting things done the right way. I mean, the only intervention which you will get is, look, get yourself a job, go to the job center, get your CV sorted. You know, or start a business, we'll get you on one of these business tracks, you know, and I've looked at these business tracks. I've got more stories about them, but these are stories for another day. So even the locals don't know what to access to make this right for them. So these are deeper conversations we need to have where I suppose a repository of information where people can know what they need to do or steps they need to make. And also I think credit referencing agencies need to be more forthright with the way they deal with people. You know, they just need to be more forthright with the way they deal with people because you know, just the simple fact that you go run your credit a few times ruins your credit, yet you haven't borrowed anything, is something people don't know. So it should be put in your face to say, you know, if you have run credit and you've failed, maybe this is not a good thing for you to do right now. So yeah, so those are my thoughts on that. I think I've talked too much.
Excellent, excellent. I really picked a lot of things and I've learned a lot. So basically there's this lack of information in the BMA communities, and there is this unconscious bias from our white brothers and sisters, or maybe on our side also. So,
unconscious bias is a two-way stream.
Yeah. So what can be done then so that we become responsible citizens, because we are here to stay. If you want to leave, you can leave, but at the moment, this is our home. What can we do to be those responsible citizens that we contribute, but also with the required knowledge and understanding?
The first thing I would say to people is first thing is first, is get the language straight. And I'm not talking about speak great English. I'm saying in the place you're found in, speak the English which makes sense to them, you know, get the nuances of the language and just get it straight. I always tell people that talk radio. That's why I listen to a lot of radio for, you know, it's something I picked up from my dad, and I listen to a lot of radio for. That just helps you, you know, once you start getting more and more into the language, you know, and then understanding the culture is the next thing you need to do, is just get the culture.
And the current situation.
Yes.
In the
And secondly,
country or in the community.
Get certain things sorted. For example, get your driver's license. That's one thing which will just help you, you know, get the basics sorted, you know. Also find out what your rights are. A lot of times you may not know what your rights are, and you may find yourself in abusive situations because you're not quite clear what you can and can't do. And learn, read, understand what the measurements are. Just learn. You know, integration is about understanding. And most importantly, integration is not about losing who you are. You know, I don't lose my African roots. I always see myself as very, very African. Also, one of the things which amazes me is I always tell people to say that pick your, you know, I find a lot of Africans have studied. We have come here, we found school easy. We all got master's degrees. And we're asking ourselves, why are we still doing care? Well, the problem is you have to ask yourself why you're doing the master's degree. If you're doing the master's degree to get a better job, then do a master's degree which guarantees that you get a better job. I know healthcare is a good, anything healthcare is nice, for pharmacy, medicine, even nursing. Programming is also a good one. I know that but again, these are skills-based situations. What skills do you have, and where's the shortage? You know, there's a thing called the UK shortage list. Just Google it and look at what jobs you would do, you know. If you're an artist, don't do art, go do 3D animation. I always tell people that, you know, visual effects and 3D animation are skills which are really needed in this country because there's a blooming film industry. Who knows, you could be working on one of the Fast and Furious movies. It's understanding where the job markets are, speaking to people who understand. You understand? You know? And if you are, and making decisions. For example, a few years ago, there was a young man who, his parents really wanted him to do nursing because that's why they thought where the money was. And it's true, there's money in nursing, but he was great at graphic design. And I encouraged him, just go become a graphic designer. He went into university, did it. Before he finished, I sat him down, I said, go to London. Because in London, you don't have a family, you don't have anything which is holding you down. Go intern in London. Once you intern in London, you will stay. And he did that. Now he's one of the senior graphic designers in the city of London. And I told him, now it's time for you to leave London because you've got everything you can get from London. Leave London, go start a family. So it's that type of understanding to say, look, someone at my age, no matter how much I like graphics, no matter how much I'm good at it, I just can't uproot my family and say I'm going to go to London. So then I'll think through, do I really need to do a course like that? So it's those type of small decisions. Speak to somebody. I mean, if you get in touch with me, we can have an open discussion about what's the best program based on your skill sets and all that, which will guarantee you a job after you finish. Because that's the thing, is for you to get guaranteed a job. Also, it's not only in the realm of work, because work is just one aspect of what we do. And I know that is also understand what it means. Understand your housing options. Understand your housing options. You understand? So it may mean that you move to a town with more housing options. You understand? Understand what a housing association is, what the council is, what private rented is. After you understand what all those things are, also understand what getting a mortgage is, own property.
Yeah.
It may take you 25 to 30 years to finish, but it's something you can pass on to your kids. They will own it. They will do something with it. So not only that, you know, I know like, because I'm a Christian and I'm just about to give a plug about my Christianness is try white churches. Try white churches. Go try the white experience, you know. And I know that it's easy for us to congregate where with people who look like us, but just try it. Make friends, make an effort. Not everybody is bad. Once you pass that trust level, you know, once you pass that trust level, I've had very fantastic white friends who, you know, who will give me a kidney. If I've had really, you know, people who would come and spend nights at my house. I've had white friends like that. So there are people out there like that. The question is, you know, try your best to integrate. And and also one thing I would want to say is don't lose yourself in all of this. Don't pretend to be something you are not. It really bothers me when I find people who lose their Africanness, the Ubuntu of themselves. No, don't do that. If people don't love you for who you are, you know, they'll never love you, you know. So just accept who you are. I'm a proud African and I wear my Africanness as a badge of honor. Even though I was born here, I wear my Africanness as a badge of honor.
Lovely, lovely. What can I say? Thank you so, so much, Solomon.
Thank you very much. You can have me on any topic.
Yeah, this is really helpful. I'm sure it's going to help thousands of people. And yeah, I'm looking forward to having you here again.
Thank you
on
very
a different
much.
topic.
Any topic, anytime.
Thank you so much again.